I'm Allendale's Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at your midday weather update. As we look at the latest surface analysis across the country right now, we've got moisture firing off in Iowa down into Missouri. Heavy rains and thunderstorms in Arkansas right now. Pretty much everything is staying west of the Mississippi River through midday. We've seen a little bit of a surprise with some action farther north in parts of Minnesota. However, it's going to be leaving, I think, shortly, probably before the evening is through. Two areas of low pressure to watch, one in eastern parts of South Dakota, one in southwestern Kansas. I think both of them kick out into the western Corn Belt as we go into the overnight tonight and tomorrow. Will probably come together to form a fairly formidable little frontal boundary, frontal complex. Models show this throwing moisture across most of the Corn Belt from tonight. Actually, you can say now, since it's raining already in parts of Iowa, right on through the day tomorrow and into the early morning hours on Sunday. And then we should be done with action by Sunday, probably by the time you're up and heading out and about, and we will be sunny probably through the afternoon over a good part of the Corn Belt. Monday looks dry as well. Models continue to try and keep most moisture out of the Corn Belt as we go through next week. I am not a big believer in that system, but I'm also smart enough to stand up and get out of the way of the moving truck. What I think that we have to watch for and what I'm fearful of is the low-pressure area that's shown to move across the deep south, actually tracking a little bit farther north, throwing some moisture into the Corn Belt. However, I will also say this, even if that were to happen, coverage is going to be 50% or less of the key growing regions, and so therefore I think we are going to be seeing windows of opportunity for a good chunk of next week across the Corn Belt. It's just not going to be a straight, solid window. And I also don't think that, some of these talks about 10-day windows are not accurate either. Our next round of significant precipitation or a front's going to be trying to work into the Corn Belt probably as we go through the end of the week, around the first into the second. So we're going to be keeping an eye on all of that. But I, too, am going to try and trend the forecast here just a little bit drier. I'm doing it begrudgingly because I still think, meteorologically speaking, there's a decent chance for moisture getting in here that folks aren't talking about. By the same token, like I said, I think there's going to be windows of opportunity through a good part of the week next week. Going longer term, once you get into the 4th and 5th, got a good front coming in there, one for the 9th and 10th as well. We were talking yesterday about the thought that might be overdone or overzealous in terms of having two good fronts. We thought they might combine into one. We're seeing some signs maybe of that happening, kind of trending the 4th and 5th moisture to a little less and more for the 9th and 10th. We'll see if models want to meld them together into one system or not. But still, it looks like as we go into the early part of May, there will be some moisture around. But the pattern also doesn't look all that active farther upstream. We've been talking about that through most of this week, the fact that we're looking back across the western United States into western Canada, and we're just not seeing a huge amount of moisture trying to work in during the time frame. So there is that, and that's what we'll continue to watch through the weekend into early next week. Temperature-wise, very cold over parts of the eastern Corn Belt this morning. Had a 27-degree temperature reading seen all the way down to Lafayette, Indiana, so it was chilly, but we should see temperatures moderate a bit. Before everybody gets too happy, though, when I say moderate, I'm talking about moderating against what we've had. We are by no means going to be above normal in terms of temperature here, I think, right on through the middle of May. I'm looking for us to be actually below normal through the next week and a half, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so. Once we get into the second half of May, temperatures will try and bounce a little bit more. So even though we're not nearly as cold as what we just got done dealing with, we're not going to be excessively warm either. I think it's going to lead to a slow move in soil temperatures, where sunshine probably does the biggest work on moving those soil temperatures to the upside. That's what we've got in your forecast here at midday. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm meteorologist Ryan. If you've got any questions on the weather, give us a call at Allendale. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.